going through an insane time that'll be talked about for years and years on whether or not this is what killed baseball or not. Representing the MLB, senior baseball insider for ESPN. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to warm up the Jett, Jeff Passan. Jett.
What's up, boys?
Hey, you look amazing. It's great to see that your hair and your tie and everything's fantastic. Wake me up when baseball is back. Even though the MLB quit, Jett didn't. And that's what we appreciate you for, Jett.
Hey, Jett.
It's good to be here, boys. You're looking good.
Thank you.
Is Connor around right now?
Yeah.
What's up, Jett?
Say, Connor.
What did he say? I didn't hear him.
Groceries down.
Oh, come on, dude.
Garbage chute.
Hey, different show, Jett. We're not talking about that right now.
Honestly,
Jett.
what are you doing, man?
Different show.
That's a great question, actually.
I'm a doofus, Jett. What do you want from me, pal? I'm dumb.
Does that make you feel better? You a
I
journalist?
I feel like you and baseball are the same right now. You have something great and you just throw it in the garbage for no reason.
Yeah. I had milk and cookies, Ben and Jerry's in that grocery bag, Jett.
Okay.
I know.
What's your Ben and Jerry's go-to?
Milk and cookies, dude. Why are we talking about this?
All right, let's move along. But
Jesus.
I would like to say what Jett is referencing is a story from the pod in which Connor, who is a successful adult, if you were to look from a zoomed out perspective, did bring his groceries home, and instead of putting it in the fridge, he actually dropped it down the laundry chute into the trash can.
Yes, thank
So
you.
that is something that happens as adults. You should feel good. This guy's going to make $1 million over the next couple of years. So just know that it can happen to you. But let's talk to Jett. Speaking of making $1 million, baseball. And I'm not a baseball guy. Everybody knows that. You know that. We know that. I mean, I played professionally, but I did not follow the sport closely growing up because the Pittsburgh Pirates stink. But Bob Nutting, the owner of the Pittsburgh Pirates, is maybe a depiction perfectly of what baseball is as a whole. How are any of them making money? Is that the only thing that this is about? Obviously. And how do you see them getting through the lockout? We read your article today behind the paywall at ESPN Plus. Incredibly well written. You do a great job on your research and putting words together. We appreciate that. But how the hell do they get through this whenever you got owners who only care about money, Bob Nutting, and you got players who do their own thing? I just don't. This is an ugly time, I think, in baseball, Jett.
Yeah, it's a really ugly time right now. But because the problem is, on one side, you've got owners who believe they pay players too much, which I think is kind of silly, honestly, because number one, players are the game, like every game. Yeah, I'm sorry, but if you get rid of the players, then the game is nothing. Beyond that, this is an ownership group that, you got 30 billionaires, and they're billionaires for a reason. It's because they don't go and give out money for charity to their employees. On the other hand, you've got players who are looking at a few things right now. Number one, salaries have gone down $200 million in aggregate since 2017. 2017, players were getting paid $4.25 billion. Last year, they got paid $4.05 billion. So they feel like they've had money taken off the table there. You've got players who feel like they've been mistreated in a number of ways, disrespected, and that you've got gambling money coming into the game. You've got these large television contracts. You've got, the last non-COVID year, baseball made $10.7 billion in revenue. Second highest revenue sport in America beyond the National Football League. Yeah, $10.7 billion.
Where?
They make a lot of. I know, they make a lot of money. It's media rights. It's local television deals. And these local television deals have sustained the sport for a long time, and players feel like they have not gotten their fair share, and they're angry about it. And that anger is leading to this situation we have right now where the sides just can't talk with one another. Like, they talk past each other. And when you can't even have a conversation about where the sport needs to go, you're in trouble. And that's where I think baseball finds itself these days. And listen, I don't like writing pessimistic things. It's just the truth and the reality of where the sport sits right now.
Oh, pessimistic passing, they're saying. Go ahead, AJ. Go ahead, AJ. Old PP out there.
Hey, Jett, speaking of being pessimistic, what is the worst case scenario that comes from this? Like, how much time is missed? And also, who is driving the talks? Like, who is powerful on both sides that actually has some pull?
Look at you with good journalistic questions. Pat's breaking news earlier this week.
Right.
Yeah, not as much as Boomer, but we're trying.
AJ's coming in looking like more than a meathead. It's great. mean,
Rock for
the
brains.
truth is the truth. Look at him. He looks like an Aryan movie villain.
Oh,
Jesus, Jet. What is that, AJ?
you can't say that, Jett.
I mean, it's true. Like, your name is AJ Hawk. Like, you definitely should murder people in movies.
You might. We don't
Maybe
know if it's in
someday.
real life. Oh, jeez.
Maybe someday.
Jeez.
Good Lord.
The power players. Pat's best friend, Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, clearly is at the forefront here, and it's been interesting because you guys understand, having been through labor issues, right, with the NFL, what it's like when the public sees a dispute like this. A lot of times, I think in the past especially, it's been, we're rooting for teams. These players make a ton of money. They're doing something that they love. Like, why should I be on their side? The difference this time around, I think, is that a lot of people publicly do not like Rob Manfred. And I think that players are actually doing a pretty decent job of making this as much about Rob Manfred. But in the end, is that what's going to get a deal done? Is that what's going to break a deal? No, probably not. In the end, what does it always come down to?
Money.
Like, what?
Deadlines.
That's it.
Deadlines.
Money and deadlines. No, AJ, you're exactly right. And I think we saw the power of a deadline leading up to December 1st. So the contract expired December 1st. We all knew that there was going to be a lockout, but going into then, Major League Baseball teams spent $1.7 billion on players in the week and a half or so leading up to it. Corey Seager got $325 million. Max Scherzer's getting paid $43 million a year. I mean, there were huge, huge numbers tossed around, and it shows the power of a deadline. The problem is there is no hard and fast deadline right now. So even though the lockout started on December 1st, Baseball and the Players Association still have not had a single conversation about core economics, which is what this thing all goes back to anyway.
We did some tank top journalism earlier, so we tried to look into this thing. And you have told us before, because I've asked so many times, how do they make money? Is it baseball hats? Is that whole thing? So we looked into it. I guess there's, $700 million that is dispersed amongst the teams in national revenue. This is what the internet has told us. Then the local deals are for the teams, or do they have to share that money amongst everybody? Like how the Pittsburgh Pirates averaged 24 people at each single game this year. How did they make any? When you have to pay for the lights to be on, the Zambelli fireworks, you have to pay for the workers in there. You have to pay for the travel of the team. You have to pay the players. How are the Pirates making any money? They're just using other people's monies?
Yeah, before the Pirates spend a single minute on the field every year, they're given somewhere in the range of $70 million in revenue sharing from big market teams. Now, if you look at this like the NFL, for example, the NFL's revenue sharing is very simple in two ways. Number one, every team has the same limit to spend because it's a salary capped sport. So every team understands that. But beyond that, there are no local television deals in the NFL. It's all national television money. It all gets split 32 ways. In baseball, you're kind of on your own, but 31% of your local revenue gets put into a pot and split up and distributed back to those smaller market teams especially.
Don't everybody hate Bob Nutting then around the MLB? Can they vote him out and others out? Because we saw LA because of how much they are worth in 25-year deal. I guess it's multi-billion. Then the Yes Network is like 3-point-something billion in that entire game. And then you look at the Pirates, it's like $40 million or something. Like, don't all those big name teams that are actually trying to win in the professional baseball league, don't they hate those smaller ones? Or
Okay. So this is an interesting point, and I'm glad you bring it up, because what the players have been saying, right, is that we feel like there's too much disparity. We feel like there are teams that are tanking, that are not trying to win, that are anti-competitive, and that anti-competitiveness is a real problem. But at the same time, the players are also saying we want the ceiling of the competitive balance tax threshold, which is the luxury tax, essentially, which is the thing that's supposed to be there trying to prevent the Dodgers from having $200 million more in payroll than the Pirates. They're trying to get that even higher. Now, They're trying to get it higher because it hasn't bumped up nearly commensurate with revenues in baseball over the past, between 2011 and 2019. So the last non-COVID year when baseball made $10.7 billion dollars as an industry. Yep.
Makes no sense. A lot of hats.
They had gone from 6.3 billion as an industry to 10.7 over the course of like 9 years. During that time, the ceiling for the competitive balance tax went from 178 million to 206 million. That's 70% gain in revenues. That's 15% gain in CBT. The players are angry at that because the players understand that this past year when the CBT threshold guy was $210 million, the Dodgers went over, the Padres went over, and there were 5 teams that were within $3.5 million of that number. Now you're telling me that those 5 teams, if that 210 was 230 instead, wouldn't have gone up and spent more? You're telling me the Yankees wouldn't have gone up to 230 million? That's why they want that raised. But the problem is the higher that gets, the more the big market teams spend. The smaller market teams sit there and go, how the hell am I going to compete in this league? And that's the core issue of baseball and what they should be talking about. In reality, they're just talking about how you split up dollars. And that's the problem here. The long-term issue in baseball should be competitiveness, but the short-term financial interests of everyone involved is what's going to win the day.
Baseball, it sounds like those owners, much like us, nobody's watching, but big deals are being taken place.
Yep.
That's great business, I guess, out of Manfred and the team, even though Manfred, every time he opens his mouth, the foot follows it. He literally shoots himself in the foot every single time. When is the deadline for this thing? Spring ball? What is that?
I mean, if you look at it realistically, they're supposed to, Major League Baseball is going to make a proposal. They're getting one together at this point. And the proposal so far, the players have looked at it and essentially laughed at it, just like the league has done the same with the players at this point. So I'm not at the point right now where I'm panicking that there are going to be games lost. But once we get to February 1st, if there's not progress, Pat, then we're looking at spring training being postponed at that point.
No!
I mean, if we're looking,
I want to see bombs in Arizona.
There's nothing better
I want to see dingers in Florida.
than pitchers and catchers reporting. They cannot push that back.
Speaking of, Ty, go ahead, pal.
Yeah, Jett, I mean, you kind of just alluded to it, but it seems like over the last couple years, this is really the only shit we hear, that both sides hate each other and we're kind of getting a watered down product. When would you say, there's a good chance that this just gets done and we kind of go about our business, but when would it be in your mind a date where it's oh shit, we have a real problem here and there is a chance that we actually might not get baseball this year?
I'm way far away from we're not going to get baseball this year. I don't think that they're that stupid, frankly. That's the thing.
Is Bob not even voting? Is Bob not even going to vote?
Listen, I understand that players want what they want and that they feel unified at this point. I understand that owners want a particular thing and they don't feel like they owe players anything. And so when you have a bunch of intransigent alpha males on two sides in a staring contest, in a pissing contest, in whatever you want to call it, this has a chance to last for a really long time. But the reality is somebody here needs to be the adult in the room and take a 35,000-foot view of this all. Pat McAfee, who is one of the biggest names in media right now, is coming out and saying, I think baseball sucks. That's a problem. Because the people who are listening to this show, who are watching this show right now, a lot of them think the same thing. And let me tell you, Pat, I'm sorry, baseball doesn't suck. Baseball is a great sport that can't get out of its own damn way sometimes.
Baseball can't hold hockey's jockstrap. All right? Yeah. Just want to let you know that. But hockey was in the same position years ago when they had their lockout and work stoppage, and it almost ended the entire league. And then they came out on the other side much better.
Jett, on that note, hockey obviously had to go to a salary cap to survive. The league was struggling. The players were angry. The owners were angry. Is that ever on the table for MLB, or do they just laugh that out of the building?
The players think that they will never have a cap system. And I tend to agree. Now, there is an argument, guys, to be made that a cap system would be more financially lucrative for the players. And here's the issue. So let's look at what the players are asking for. Some of the things they're asking for. They're asking for free agency after 5 years instead of 6. Not going to get that. They're asking for arbitration earlier on. Probably not going to get that. They're asking for a higher minimum salary, though. So let's assume they get a higher minimum salary because they want players to get paid younger. Let's assume there's a bonus pool that gets put in place so that if you have excellent performance in your first or second or third year, you get paid more. All of that money, owners look at it like, hey, that's extra that we're paying, which is fine for them to do. But the reality is the way that baseball operates, there is no minimum salary. So whatever the owners pay extra to those younger guys, they don't have to necessarily go out in free agency and spend on the older guys. When you have a system in which there's no fixed amount that leagues have to pay, that organizations can go out and game that system. And that's exactly what's happened over the last 10 years or so in baseball. It's the reason you don't see guys who are older than 30 years old, generally speaking, getting paid what they used to get paid, because organizations realize that they can go out and pay a guy a minimum salary of under $600,000 and get pretty commensurate performance.
Salary caps have a floor, too. Go ahead, AJ.
Yeah.
Jett, do the owners believe it's a good thing or a bad thing, the fact that they lock the players out, and the vast majority of Americans probably don't know that baseball is locked out? Like, it's good because you don't want to soil the game and people get upset, but it's also bad because it's not in the front page.
If a tree falls, dude, that's kind of...
No, it's. I understand exactly what you're saying. Baseball has a credibility problem with the public. And the credibility problem goes down to something that's very simple. It's seen as a game that's old. It's seen as a game that's not fast enough. It's seen as a game without stars.
Stop testing them then.
And here's the thing. Part of me wonders if the players and the owners are both so deep inside of that echo chamber in which they exist that they are losing the reality that if they have an expanded work stoppage here, it's going to do irreparable damage to the sport. And go ahead. Oh, you better not throw a damn pitch, Pat. I swear to God, if you throw a pitch, I'm going to charge them out and beat your ass.
Whoa. Jett, you don't want that.
Listen, you don't want this smoke, McAfee. I understand. You think you're a tough guy. You wear tank tops all the time. I'll kick your ass.
All right? Hey, Jett, I beat up 5 dudes in the Oculus Arena last night. All right, I'm back. You don't want any part of the thunderstorm here, pal. But all I'm doing is just trying to let people know what the sport of baseball is while you speak about it. I didn't know. You know what I mean? I was like, no, this is the game. This is the game.
No, can I tell you what the sport of baseball is? The sport of baseball is a great sport that needs to highlight all of the good things about it. We need to be talking about Fernando Tatis Jr. and Ronald Acuna Jr. and Juan Soto. We need to be talking about we need to be talking about Shohei Ohtani. And I appreciate the fact that you let me do that earlier this year. And what Shohei Ohtani has done is incredible. He's an unbelievable athlete. And I love everything about him personality-wise. I love everything about him, what he does on the field. And if baseball would just focus more on those players and on the great things about the game and less on trying to figure out how to cut up this giant pie. Owners need to understand that players are the game. Players need to understand that they can't get everything right now, even though they've lost the last few collective bargaining agreements. And all of them need to understand that if they don't get their act together, then the sport is going to suffer for the things that they're doing.
I wonder who, because there's probably a lot of players that want to get a deal. This is like when the NFL and the NFLPA get into collective bargaining. Yeah. There's a lot of players that just want to get a deal done. Then there's a lot of players that don't. It's kind of split. Do you feel that in the baseball world or no?
Not right now. I think players right now are feeling really unified because they have that common enemy in Manfred. Like, he is a very easy person.
Yeah, he's a heel.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Yeah, stupid, bad talker. He's in charge of that.
There are a lot of things that players look at and say, Rob Manfred's trying to make our game worse. Now, I don't think he's actively trying to do that, but if you're
he's a medal trophy.
Yeah.
Here's the thing though. If you're the players right now, the one thing you can't show is weakness, is separation. You have to show unity. And that's the thing. What this is all going to come down to, Pat, is which side which side cleaves first? Is it going to be the owners who say we are losing money, the small market ones especially, we are losing money because we're not playing games right now, we can't stand for this? Or is it going to be the players who, the first time they don't get a paycheck, say, the average major league career is like 3 years? Don't throw the pitch.
No, I was going to throw out to Diggs because he's a big time baseball fan, but those are dog years too because you're on the road for 100.
Oh yeah, no question. No question. And that's the thing. That's where the league feels like it has the advantage over the players, right? And the players feel like they have the advantage over the league almost from a moral sense. Like, hey, we're the game. Start treating us that way.
Oh, okay, got it. Go ahead, Tone.
Jett.
Oh, they're like Hub.
Yeah.
Hub. Like Hub Arkush. Bigger than the game.
Baseball.
Bigger than the award. Rob Manfred. Basically, Hub Arkush. We're tying things together, piecing things together. Big time journalist Jett Passan helping us out with that. Go ahead, Tone.
Jett, Pat mentioned the #1 rated ski resort in the Mid-Atlantic region in Seven Springs,
Great ski resort.
owned by Robert Nutting. He just sold it to the Vail Resort Group. Did he sell that because he's going to give $300 million to Ohtani?
It's a great question. Talking about the Pirates baseball here.
Answer the question, Jett.
Jett, answer the question.
I'm not going to answer the stupidest question.
What is he
Why you never been to Seven Springs? You never rode tubes down the hills of Seven Springs.
Why would he sell
You
the
have no idea.
#1 rated ski resort in the Mid-Atlantic region?
You have no clue what that
if he's
ski
not
lodge is
giving
like,
money
dude.
to Ohtani.
Yeah, if he's not bringing Ohtani, why is he selling Seven Springs, which everybody wants to go to in the tri-state area?
Can you just say Ohtani one more time, please?
Ohtani.
Shohei
There we go. Let's go.
Ohtani. Is he going broke? Why'd he sell that thing? That was the only thing he was good at, it feels like, publicly. Why'd he sell that place? Is there any teams that are going to be up for sale, you think? Or are the Pittsburgh Pirates going to be one of them?
I don't anticipate the Pirates being sold anytime soon unless, here's the thing. After your first big deal, we talked about you potentially buying. Now, you're on your way, Pat. You got to get a group.
Yeah.
We're buying hockey too.
Well, we talked about that actually, Jett. We did have a full conversation. And then Ty, our baseball guy, actually came up to me and said, hey, let's remember you hate baseball. So are you sure you want to? That's every day. We would have to be there every single day. I just thought about the fun nights, the fireworks, the whole thing. We'll pay Shohei. We'll have a suite behind home plate. We'll even dress up like umpires every night. It'll be our old thing. But I guess that's not the case. I hope every owner does care about the team being great and the team winning and the league winning, and I appreciate that and respect that. But normally whenever these types of bargaining things happen, that is the last thing on anybody's mind. Hopefully they'll be able to figure it out because you know what we need? We need more Jett Passan.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we do.
We need more Jett.
I love you. I'm so glad to be here. Seriously, this is so much fun. I've been sitting around in my Snuggie for the last 2 months doing jack shit.
Yeah.
What's going on with you guys? Brings life to me. Makes me feel good. So thank you. I appreciate that. Hawk, you scare the shit out of me.
Well, Jett, we appreciate you, bud.
Thank you, Jett.
Thank you, Jett. And we need to get you back soon. Please keep us updated. We'll continue to read behind the paywall your incredible writings.
Hell yeah.
We did it today. It was awesome. We would recommend everybody do that. ESPN Plus. Senior MLB Insider. Absolute legend, ladies and gentlemen, Jett Passan. Thank you, Jett. Thank you, Jett. He has just been in snug. You remember when those came out with the sleeves on the blanket? Oh, those were so cool.
Awesome.
Those are so cool. How
many times are you going to mention the ESPN Plus paywall to Jett?
Well, we did have to sign up for it today.
Yeah, I wasn't happy about it.
Yeah. I said, Ty, can you please read Jett's work? We need to get a little bit of a synopsis of it. And then you hear Ty go, behind the fucking paywall?